In late 2017, an international team of population geneticists collaborating across leading institutions in Germany, the United States, and Japan concluded a 7-year-long, quietly conducted project. This ambitious undertaking involved the meticulous compilation of a comprehensive ancient DNA reference panel. This panel was built from samples, precisely recovered from archaeological sites, spanning every inhabited continent, covering a vast timeline from approximately 40,000 years before the present, up to the early modern era. Their primary objective was unprecedented: to create, for the very first time, a complete genetic ranking of every major human population on Earth. Specifically, they aimed to ascertain how far back the genetic record could trace the lineage of each contemporary human group. Furthermore, they sought to identify the archaic and ancient populations that had contributed to the formation of these modern groups, and to precisely quantify the genetic connection between contemporary populations and the ancient samples preserved within the deep human genetic record. The resulting genetic ranking, once meticulously assembled, proved to be nothing short of extraordinary. Initially, the majority of populations analyzed fit comfortably and neatly into their anticipated positions within this grand genetic tapestry. European populations consistently showed genetic traces linking them to identifiable ancient farmer and hunter-gatherer components. Sub-Saharan African populations revealed deep, ancient African lineages. East Asian populations reliably traced their origins back to distinct ancient northern and southern components. Similarly, South Asian and Native American populations consistently resolved into their recognized genetic blends. Yet, amidst this remarkable consistency, a singular anomaly emerged. Every group contributed to a coherent global picture, except for one. Within the vast data set, a particular population presented a genetic signature that strikingly failed to connect cleanly or conclusively to any currently known ancient source. While the samples unequivocally contained clear modern human DNA and exhibited expected components of recent genetic admixture, their deeper origins remained elusive. When the research team conducted their deep ancestry analysis, they were met with an unexpected void. They simply could not pinpoint its ultimate source. The deep ancestral components isolated from this group consistently failed to match any of the ancient samples, meticulously recovered from the global archaeological record. This unsettling discrepancy strongly suggested the existence of a profound ancestral source population that had either never been sampled, remained entirely unidentified, or, according to the totality of existing genetic reference data, was effectively an unidentifiable ghost population. Driven by this perplexing outcome, the team rigorously reran their analysis, meticulously expanded their ancient DNA reference panel, and consulted extensively with leading specialists. Yet, the result remained stubbornly consistent. Before we unveil the identity of this enigmatic population, it's crucial to first comprehend the precise metrics. The ranking was designed to measure and, critically, why its results carry such profound significance. The methodology underpinning ancient DNA analysis has, over the past decade and a half, undergone a transformative evolution, becoming extraordinarily sophisticated and precise. Today, when researchers painstakingly extract DNA from skeletal remains, a bone or tooth, that are 20,000, 30,000, or even 40,000 years old, they can reliably sequence the genome of the ancient individual. With a remarkable degree of completeness and confidence, this recovered ancient genome can then be rigorously compared against the genomes of contemporary human populations worldwide. Through this comparative analysis, geneticists can precisely determine which modern groups carry the genetic legacy of specific ancient populations, the exact proportions of this inheritance, and the complex historical pathways. By 2017, This critical panel encompassed more than 10,000 sequenced ancient genomes. Each population was rigorously scored based on the completeness with which its modern genetic profile could be reconstructed and attributed to documented ancient samples. A perfect score of 100% would signify that every genetic component could be unequivocally traced back. The prevailing expectation was that most populations would likely achieve scores within the 70 to 90% range, with the remainder reflecting acknowledged sampling gaps. Indeed, the initial results validated these expectations. European populations exceeded 85%. East Asian populations achieved above 70%. However, a single, glaring exception profoundly challenged these expectations. One population within the vast dataset registered an astonishingly low score, plummeting below 30%. To put this into perspective, the unexplained residual, the portion of their genetic profile that could not be sourced, accounted for a staggering more than 70% of this population's entire deep genetic makeup. The vast majority of its deep ancestral components simply could not be matched or attributed to any of the thousands of ancient samples meticulously included in the global reference panel. The research team hypothesized a methodological flaw. They reran the analysis using varied parameters and significantly expanded the reference panel. Despite these exhaustive efforts, the outcome remained unyieldingly consistent. Crucially, this signature was definitively not a contamination artifact, nor was it the consequence of poor sample quality. It presented as a real, repeatable, and robust genetic pattern, indicating a profound, deep ancestral history that the entirety of the existing ancient DNA archive was simply unable to account for. The enigmatic population, whose genetic profile defied explanation, was identified as a specific, tightly defined cluster within the broader category of Central Asian peoples. This cluster was geographically centered in the strategically significant territory, nestled between the Aral Sea and the formidable Tian Shan Mountains. Notably, this region corresponds to territories frequently depicted on older European maps, under various names associated with the vast historical landmass of Tartaria. The cluster itself comprised samples meticulously gathered from contemporary populations, inhabiting Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, the Western Kyrgyz Republic, and the southern fringes of Kazakhstan. These specific samples had been initially collected during a comprehensive population genetic survey of Central Asia, conducted throughout the early 2000s and 2010s. Crucially, these samples were sequenced to an exceptionally high quality and rigorously analyzed within the standard established genetic framework. Yet, when integrated into the 2017 ranking project, they consistently yielded the profoundly anomalous result. A staggering revelation: over 70% of the deep genetic profile of these Central Asian populations could not be attributed to or sourced from any ancient sample then available in the global reference panel. This pointed unequivocally to two possibilities. The first, the source population had simply never been adequately sampled, offering the comfort of fitting neatly within the existing academic framework. The second possibility, however, was starkly different and far more unsettling. It proposed that the deep ancestral source population had already been sampled, but the crucial relationship had been deliberately and institutionally suppressed for explicit political reasons. Predictably, the research team chose not to actively pursue this second possibility. The territory at the core of this genetic mystery was the historical heartland of Tartaria. Throughout 17th and 18th century cartography, this region was consistently depicted as a seat of a vast, continental civilization. However, during the 18th and 19th centuries, it was progressively absorbed into the expanding Russian and Chinese empires. Its rich history was systematically reinterpreted, and in many cases outright rewritten by the academic establishments serving these empires. Indeed, the impressive structures, monumental architecture, and sophisticated material culture that earlier travel literature explicitly attributed to a vanished, sophisticated imperial culture, were systematically reattributed by the modern academic establishment to various more recent Turkic and Mongol nomadic peoples, effectively erasing a significant layer of history. Consequently, the deeper, more complex history of the region, as meticulously preserved in older historical sources, was quietly, yet effectively, expunged from academic curricula and mainstream narratives. Textbooks now predominantly describe this territory as merely a transit corridor for nomadic Turkic and Mongol populations who moved through it during the medieval period, utterly devoid of any acknowledgement of a deeper, pre-existing continental civilization that might have flourished there before their arrival. Crucially, however, the genetic data, when subjected to an honest and unbiased examination, decisively contradicted this standard textbook account. Instead, it compellingly supported the narratives found in the older travel literature, suggesting a more profound and earlier civilization. The impressive structures and sophisticated material culture were systematically reattributed to various more recent Turkic and Mongol nomadic peoples, effectively erasing a significant layer of history. Yet the genetic data decisively contradicted this standard textbook account. The critical ancient samples that possessed the genetic data needed to close this gap did exist. They were physically residing in the storage facilities of various Central Asian and Russian archaeological institutions. But they had not been integrated into the global reference panel. During the mid-20th century, Soviet archaeological teams operating in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan unearthed dozens of major urban sites, settlements with continuous occupation extending back to the late Bronze Age. These reports unequivocally described settled populations whose physical anthropology and advanced culture fundamentally contradicted the narrative of transient nomads. However, these invaluable reports, published exclusively in Russian, remained unintegrated into the broader Western archaeological discourse. Data that challenges the prevailing narrative progresses through the system at a glacial pace. Inconvenient samples are left to languish indefinitely. The Central Asian anomaly stands as the most glaring instance of this systemic bias. The astonishing 70% unexplained residual is the enduring genetic shadow of a history that has been systematically erased. The deep, sophisticated continental civilization of Tartaria. The shadow persists. And if this compelling investigation is what brought you here, subscribe to this channel. There is much more yet to be revealed.